Doma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Well, we had a press conference in LA for a middleweight fight that some would consider to be a big fight, but most boxing fans, aficionados, and those who keep their eye on the box sport understands that it's not a big fight. It's not even something that we wish to see. But be that as it may. But see, it was, press conference in the LA area. Then I'm just going to say this first. Probably the biggest story in sports, if you just really pay attention, has got to be Shohei Ohtani for the Los Angeles Angels. I'll mention him every now and then just so people can, kind of fathom, right? Because it's going to start getting normal, and people that are not into baseball, which a lot of us aren't, probably not, that's going under the radar. But there's a guy right now who pitches at a very high level, which I'm about to tell you how high in a minute. And he hits at a very high level, right? At the same time. Oh, but there's more. He steals bases. He gets infield hits, right? Like if it's like some kind of infield ball or something, he might run it out, right? Never before seen, because I don't think Babe Ruth was that fast, right? Listen, it's ridiculous. I'll give you an example. I didn't watch the game from yesterday yet, but two games ago, his last 3 games, what he did was he had 8 RBIs, 8 runs batted in, with 2 home runs, right? He's batted everywhere in the lineup before. I remember when he first started hitting, they had him at 8 and 9 and stuff, Then he moved up. He's hit first before, and he's hit fourth before, which pretty much not too many baseball players would be able to say. Because most of the time, the guy who hits cleanup, which is fourth, is a fat dude. Or he ain't, his body fat index is going to be over 25. He ain't going to be the most slender base stealing guy in the world. And the one that bats first is the one that gets on base and could probably advance himself on the base pads because he's fast. Ohtani does that, and he has bat cleanup. He's bat first, second, third, and fourth before, right? Last year he had 45 home runs. But after the game, he had 8 RBIs with 2 home runs and I think a single, right? 8 RBIs, they won the game. The next game he pitched. Do you know this guy had 13 strikeouts with 8 shutout innings of pitching? Listen, all this other stuff we talking about is behind that. And if anybody has something that's bigger than that in sports presently, then please tell me, because I keep my eye on sports, which is, pretty much worldwide sports. I can't see a bigger story than that right now. That's ridiculous. Anybody who's been watching baseball for the last 50 years, it doesn't matter how religiously or just, as a casual fan, stop acting like you saw somebody pitch on that level and hit on that level. If you wasn't watching Little Leagues. In Little Leagues, I'll be hard-pressed to do that. At this level. 13 strikeouts the day after you had 8 RBIs and 2 home runs. It ain't happening. So this is relative. Let me go back to Canelo and Gennady Golovkin. Right? Nobody wants to see the damn fight. Because neither one of them deserve a big fight right now. It's what it is. It's what it is. Now, at the press conference, which I was expecting, there's going to be some antics in Canelo. Because Canelo, he came off a resounding loss to Bivol. Right? In the light heavyweight division. A resounding loss, and he was trying to do what Teofimo Lopez was doing with Devin Haney, which was, I'm going to avoid Devin Haney and fight somebody easier, which George Kambosos. Canelo Alvarez was trying to not fight Demetrius Andrade, Benavidez, Morrell, or Jamal Charlo, right? So I'm going to go back up to light heavyweight, and I ain't fighting Beterbiev, and I ain't fighting Gilberto Ramirez. So Bivol was the only one. You see what I'm saying? So that was an easier touch. Yes, cherry pick gone wrong. That's exactly what it is. What everybody knows that's in the business. Some won't speak it out like that, but that's what it was. Because same thing with Kovalev. Now I gotta say, when he fought Kovalev, it was a cherry pick gone wrong, but it went right. Kovalev was beating him, and he was able to knock him out late, right? He didn't give Kovalev a long enough training camp, right? Which I've said on many occasions. I don't want to get into it. But his point was, I am not fighting Demetrius Andrade for middleweight undisputed, right, for $40 million. I'm not doing that. So since I can get away from that, I can go 2 divisions up and it sound cool if I fight Kovalev. And that's what he did with Bivol, and it just went wrong. So now he better have some antics when he's fighting Gennady Golovkin. So what does he do? He's after, I'm going to end your career. You know, you a-hole. I'm going to end your career. You know, this and that, right? Like Gennady Golovkin so disrespectful. Gennady Golovkin hasn't disrespected him as much as Demetrius Andrade has for 8 years, since 2013, right? Not as much as Jamal Charlo is kind of respectful for Canelo, because he was trying to get the fight so much. Jamal Charlo said Canelo's the best fighter and stuff like that. You know, he really wanted to fight. So he's been not so disrespectful, but he's been telling him to come on. Benavidez too. I think all three of them have been more disrespectful than Gennady Golovkin, and he's been in the ring with him for 24 rounds. So they've been all disrespectful. So, but all of a sudden, Gennady Golovkin's so disrespectful, he wants to end his career, which he shouldn't be saying, because Gennady Golovkin's 40 years old. You probably will be able to do that. Let's see if that happens, right? Let's see what that happens. Now, one other thing before I get into something. But no, I'll do this first. When it comes to the fighters that Canelo don't want to fight, that's why we got this Gennady Golovkin fight. Like Charlo, right? He was at 160 pounds. Charlo was his mandatory, and Charlo deserved to be his mandatory. He had fought like 2 interim fights and another mandatory eliminator, right? It was about 3 fights he had fought, and he was definitely the mandatory. That's when Canelo got this new franchise title, or a designation is what Mauricio Sulaiman said at the beginning, that wasn't changeable. You can't change hands, right? That's what he said at the beginning, which has changed up until now. But the bottom line is, with this new thing, you don't have to fight Charlo, right? Now, they're saying Charlo, I've seen an article, and I think I told you about it about 2 or 3 days ago. And I was telling you, in the article I read about Jamal Charlo, well, what Jamal Charlo should do is he should move up to 168, and he should fight Benavidez and Morrell. And after that, then he could try to get a Canelo fight. Oh, really? I clean up everybody that Canelo don't want to fight, then I go up a division and clean that up, and then maybe I get Canelo. I was Canelo's mandatory, and I didn't get him. So why would I want to do that, right? Why? You know, but that's not all. You would think, well, that's just an isolated incident. But Demetrius Andrade, right? Thinking about moving up to 168. What did WBO do? Hey, right? Mandated him to fight Zach Parker. And after he fights Zach Parker, fight Benavidez. Benavidez not even WBO. Now, Demetrius Andrade has been a WBO champion since 2013 in the 154-pound division and the 160-pound division. And they didn't give him the red carpet treatment when he moves up to 168. You know what the WBO is supposed to do? He goes immediately into the mandatory spot to fight Canelo. But since it's Canelo, he's got a 2-fight mandate, like before you can even get Canelo. Right? That's what he got. So, and Benavidez, get him, even though he's not WBO, but it's somebody Canelo don't want to fight. So you can handle that. Right? You would think that would be it, right? But Canelo just said when asked at the press conference yesterday, what's up with Benavidez? Which a lot of people ask before Andrade all the time right now. There's some kind of reason we say Benavidez before Andrade. But okay, what about Benavidez? Canelo said, well, Benavidez, I got other stuff I want to do. Benavidez needs to fight other champions. So anybody Canelo ain't fighting, and definitely ain't fighting, got to go do stuff that Yildirim don't have to do, that Callum Smith don't have to do, that nobody in the 168-pound division had to do, right? None of them. Amir Khan. None of them. Who had to do anything, right? Nobody had to do nothing. But you say these names, Andrade, Charlo, Benavidez, Morrell, right? Because nobody's saying Beterbiev and Gilberto Ramirez, but we know he's not gonna fight them at 168 or 175. Excuse me. So this is how that works with Canelo, man. So the jig is up basically with him, right? And Canelo got the nerve to still be in the pound-for-pound list, which is outlandish. I was just did a video about it the other day where Oscar De La Hoya was like, how could you let him fight Bivol? Well, because aren't you guys saying he's the best fighter in the world? That's how. Any best fighter in the world would be able to handle Bivol, or at least be able to be worthy of fighting that guy. We can't be navigating and saying, well, this style and that style and this style and that style is not good for the best fighter on the planet. We don't do that. But, these people want it both ways because they know they'll be able to get it both ways. Hasn't stop them yet. Now, one other thing. somebody, not somebody, but Eddie Hearn, which said that this fight between Canelo and Gennady Golovkin is 10 times bigger than Terrence Crawford against Errol Spence. I don't even think I'm going to comment on that. That's too patronizing right there. Now, sometimes I roll with Eddie Hearn, sometimes I don't, right? He has done a few good things. He's gotten Daniel Jacobs, Canelo, Gennady Golovkin, John Ryder, so he's got him fights. But this one is so silly, right, that I'm not going to even get on that. That's just an outlandish statement, and it sure as hell ain't true. So we'll just leave it at that. Canelo wants to end Gennady Golovkin's career. Go figure. Doma Sports Talk worldwide. And I'm up out of here, y'all.